but most people don't know it. I know at our scripture studies, there was a young couple there, and the young woman was a newcomer. She was from Serbia, and her husband was an American-born young man who was a Roman Catholic. And he said that when they were going to get married, he was meeting with Father Rad, our parish priest, and he said, I just loved listening to what he had to say about the church. And he said, I kept thinking, gee, I think I want to become Orthodox. I want to convert. So Father Rada said, wait till after you get married. Don't do two big things at one time. He said to just hold off for a minute. So he did convert to Orthodoxy. And he did say that if more Roman Catholic people knew about the Orthodox Church, they would all want to convert to Orthodoxy because they're missing so much, in their own faith now. So that little bit reminds me, and I love converts. I think converts are the best thing that has happened to us because they remind us of what we have. We forget, and they come back and say, well, you have this, so that helps too. Okay, next page. Oh, I was thinking too about the internet system. I know Holy Resurrection offers the gospel and epistle on the internet every day, and I get an email with it. And I was telling a friend, I said, you should read. And Bishop Mitrofan said this once when I was back in my home parish in Youngwood. He said, God writes you a letter every day. Do you read it? And that is the Holy Scripture. So I said to her, do you read that letter from God every day? And she said, no, I don't really do it. I said, well, I can send it to you on email. She said, okay. So now she reads it every day, simply because of that one little thing. It's available to us. And people are so busy now. All of us have other things we could have been doing right now, I'm sure. I could be cleaning my house or something like that, or getting ready for registration tomorrow. But, if we have to pull on those things too, get ourselves up to pace with what's going on. And we can't judge those who don't come to liturgy, who don't come to Bible studies, because we don't know what's in their heart. We don't know what they're up against. That when I went to liturgy not too long ago for the Dormition of the Mother of God, I was surprised to see how many communicants there were. Because, you don't usually see communicants during those, at least not in Milwaukee. I don't know about other parishes, and we don't see those very often. But, it was like, there are other people out there who care. I just don't see them. We don't see them every day. But I think, as Father Vladimir mentioned, that our richest resource is ourselves. We can offer materials and things like that, and maybe people will do something about it, maybe they won't. But we are there, and we can offer ourselves as that teacher. We may not be a profound speaker, or have a vast knowledge of the Orthodox Church or the teachings of the saints, but we can lead by our actions. And as we talked about before, about attending the liturgies, attending the Vespers, attending the other services as much as we can, and dedicating ourselves to reading Scripture or saying prayers or learning prayers, and partaking of the Holy Eucharist. How many people look at, our teachers as the example as, well, if they don't do it, why should I do it? We can't stand up there on Sunday mornings or whatever day you might have your classes and tell the kids to do something if you're not doing it yourself. That's where it starts, is with ourselves. And I think one of our most powerful tools is just prayer. We can all pray. We can pray for those people who we think, why aren't they coming to dropping their kids off at Sunday school and not coming into church? They just leave and they're not around to be with them. I have my dear sister Mary, who lives in Pennsylvania. She travels to a lot of monasteries and talks to a lot of nuns and monks, and she's always sharing things with me. And she told me a story, a true story. It was Father Demetrius Karellas, who's the spiritual advisor for a Greek Orthodox convent in Saxonburn, Pennsylvania. And he told her that he was praying for someone who was living a very not too wonderful lifestyle. And he'd been praying for 6 months, and nothing was happening. He was praying with a family member of that person. So he was all worried about it. 6 months of praying every day, nothing's going on. What's wrong with me? What is my prayer being answered? So he met with a monk from Mount Athos who had come to the convent to visit. And this monk said that, and I don't want to mix it up because it's important, I think. It was very touching. He said that God answers our prayers, and we all know that, not always the way that we want him to. But whenever a prayer is said, it's directed to the heart of the individual that you are praying for. But if there's a wall on that heart, all the prayers then go to God. and he puts them in a safe, and he saves them until a tiny crack opens up in that heart. And then he pushes all the prayers in. And that's when changes can happen. So Father Demetrius kept praying for this person for another 6 months, and there was a change. There was a change, and this person now is married and happy and following Christ. So we just don't know. We just can't stop the prayer, and that's something we can all do. You know, we can't all be perfect teachers, but we can all pray for those other people. Our prayers are heard, and they'll help us too. Because I pray the Akathas to the Mother of God for my children every day, and I'm reading it and it's saying, please help my children to, follow the teachings of Christ. And I'm thinking, okay, do I follow the teachings of Christ? It kind of wakes you up a little bit too. You can't pray for something for someone else and not be doing it for yourself. And then one of my favorite little sayings is from Saint Seraphim of Sarov, where he says, when you find inward peace, a multitude around you will find their salvation. And my sister also told me a story of a couple in Lexington, Kentucky, at the church she attended when she lived there. This woman was going to church every Sunday. She was married. Her husband wasn't Orthodox. He hadn't converted. He didn't go to church with her. But eventually, she had so much peace about her and joy that he said, I want to be like you. So he, through her example, and she didn't prod him. She didn't say, get up and come to church with me. You have to be there. What a terrible husband you are, or whatever. She just lived that life, and he went with her. So I think, I don't know if I answered your questions about our need for adult education, because it's out there. And the solutions, as for 2,000 years, we've been working on it. But, if the Lord can give us strength to go out and be the leader, that's all we can do. Lead with our example. So I don't know how many minutes that was, but thank you for your time.